Welcome to episode 1042. It's Monday, June 29th, and you're listening to the Geek at Geek News Central. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and Harry's.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. If you want a close shave just like me, I have a way to save some money. All you got to do is visit Harry's.com and use the promo code GeekNews. More on that in a few minutes. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. We got a great show lined up for you tonight. You know what comes next? And those of you watching on the video, kind of a different angle tonight. So we'll start the show off. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
We're go fly.
Microphone.
We're go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Voice print confirmed.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to Geek News Central. Of course, my name is Todd Cochran. I want to welcome you to the show. Got a great lineup for you tonight. Lots of stuff to talk about. I want to give a very, very warm welcome to all of the Hana, all longtime listeners and viewers of the show. Thanks for being here. And I know that we've got some folks tuning in tonight from Hawaii. We've got some of the Solar Impulse folks starting to congregate. Is that the right word? Anyway, they've been in contact with that team. We'll talk about that a little bit. I want to say a little over to Lonnie. Hey, Lonnie, over there at Pacific Missile Range Facility. I guess that's where you're at, PMRF. So welcome to Hawaii. I know you're working over here, but the rest of the audience that is watching this show later or listening, thanks so very much for being part of the Ohana. Hey, if we are doing everything that we're supposed to do here, you're going to want to go over to geeknewscentral.com and get subscribed to the show. It's real easy. Right there on the website, you're going to see the link to iTunes. If you're an iOS user, Android, if you're an Android user, RSS for everyone else. And if you have no clue what I'm talking about on how to get subscribed to the show, just click on the more subscription options. We're going to give you some instruction on how to get subscribed to this show so you can carry it with you in your pocket. Of course, if you don't have a fancy mobile phone, don't worry. You can come over to geeknewscentral.com and you can watch or listen to the content right on the website. If you're so lucky to have a Roku, Boxy, Samsung Smart TV, Google TV, you can kick back and watch this show on the Tech Podcast channel. And I'm in the news section or news category, so definitely look for me there as well. But I want to welcome everyone. We've got a great show lined up for you tonight. And lots of stuff, lots of exciting stuff going on here in Hawaii. Okay, one way you can contact me is geeknews@gmail.com is the email address. Of course, you can reach me on Twitter at Geek News. I'm on Facebook, Google+, everywhere else. Just Google my name, Todd Cochran. You're going to find me in whatever social media place you like to hang your hat. And definitely chit-chat back and forth. I appreciate it. It takes the edge off on non-show days when I get to have conversations with audience members. I do appreciate it when you hit me up. It's a lot of fun. So thanks again for engaging and being part of this Ohana. If you are so inclined, you can sign up for a newsletter. The newsletter contains everything I'm going to talk about tonight. Really, every link in the show, basically every media piece I'm going to talk about will be linked up in that. You'll get that delivered directly to your inbox immediately following the posting of the show, and that way you'll have something to follow along as you listen to the show. Of course, I want to thank our sponsors tonight. This show tonight is sponsored in part by our good friends over at GoDaddy.com. You can go to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. That's where you're going to find all of my great deals. And I do have just a ton of good stuff and great ways for you to save money. And we're going to continue to add more deals and change offers up as time goes on. But right now, this lineup is almost impossible to beat. We've got 30% off on new product orders. We've got 99cent.coms on new or transferred domains. And again, that's for .coms, not necessarily for a .guru or a .news or whatever other those top level domains, but on the .coms, and there is a ICANN fee that's thrown in there. So look at the disclosure on your purchase. And of course, we've got I call them the dollar deals. We've got the GoDaddy website builder. It includes a free domain and Microsoft Outlook email address. We've got the $1 a month economy hosting. This is for 12 months, $1 a month for 12 months. Get a free domain with that as well. And we also got the $1 a month managed WordPress sites. And you really cannot go wrong on these managed WordPress sites. You're just about assured that they're going to be kept up to date. You're just going to have to go in there and get them set up and you do your thing. But these managed WordPress sites are fantastic. So $1 a month for the first 12 months. Again, with a free domain. And all my codes start with CJC. And this was a change we made a couple months ago. All these codes are prefaced with the code CJCGNC30, CJCGNC99, CJCGNC-GOT, CJCGNC1HS, CJCGNCWP1. So really the best way to engage these deals is to come over to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, see the deal on the product that you want to buy, click on that link, and take it all the way through to the checkout counter, all right? That's going to be the best way to engage any deal that I have here on the website. Now, it doesn't matter once you get into the menu at GoDaddy on which product you pick from a cost standpoint. If you decide to go with a dollar deal, that's great. If you decide to go with a little more expensive product, that's okay as well. Just you click through, and that's the best way to do it. Now, you can always use the codes at checkout, so don't worry about if you forget and you get to the checkout counter and you're like, oh man, I need to use Todd's codes. I want you to come back over on a separate browser tab to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy, cut and paste the code out, take it back, and insert that promo code and save yourself some serious cash. All right, it's really important that you do so. Great products and services over there, okay? I'm running a bunch of managed WordPress sites myself right now. I have several economy hosting accounts, have several servers over there. So really there is a wide variety of products and services that I've used at GoDaddy for many, many years. And I want you to remember, if you have a problem with any GoDaddy product that you have bought, use my promo code with it, or heck, anyone's promo code for that matter, and you're a listener of this show, and you have an issue, and you do not get satisfaction necessarily at the tech support level that you're working at, don't be afraid to email me here at geeknews@gmail.com. I definitely will send that up to the management level to make sure that they hear about your experience. Now, I want you to, don't just call me and say, Todd, my site's down. I want you to go through the tech support process, but if they don't give you satisfaction, which happens from time to time, they don't bat 1,000 all the time, and if they have an issue, I want you to tell me about it. That's part of the service that I offer here for using my promo codes, is I've got that great connection within the top-level staff at GoDaddy, and we want you to use the promo code. Share them with your friends, family members, people that you know. Tweet about these codes. Share them on Facebook. It's really helps us keep the lights on, allowing us to do what we do here. And when I say we, my family is as big a part of this show as I am by putting up with me doing the show every Monday and Thursday night. So anyway, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy is the website. We want to thank GoDaddy for being a longtime sponsor here. 10 years at Geek News Central. Okay, so I don't know if you've heard about this or not. And I talked a little bit about it on the last show. But Solar Impulse has left Nagoya, Japan. We're almost 2 days in now at this point. But Solar Impulse is on its way to Hawaii. SolarImpulse.com is a place you can go to watch. I mean, some of this is, there's a live stream video of the pilot. He's in the cockpit. You can watch him 24/7. You can watch what the aircraft is doing. Right now, they are fully charged. They are in a climb. And for those of you that are listening, I kind of going to describe this a little bit and make sure I open up the right window here. So what I'm showing the viewing audience is a chart of basically altitudes. And they've started up. They climbed, and then at nighttime they do a very, very slow descent, and then they get down around 8,000 feet, and that's where they kind of like pull the throttles back and kind of just hang on the wings and wait for daylight, because during the night their batteries are discharging. Now, right now, they are in a 99% or 100% charge state. Essentially, they're 100% on the solar panels at this point. It's dark here in Honolulu, so he has got a few hours of obviously of daylight left, but in his location, the sun is probably already to the point where it's going to start setting in a couple of hours. So it's 1803 aircraft time for him. So they're really 2 hours. 2 hours behind Honolulu Standard Time. So he's got about another hour or so, maybe 2 hours before they go into what's called Mode 2, where they basically are partially on battery, partially on sun, and then they go into night mode, and they go on Mode 3, where they're pulling from the battery, and then until dawn, they basically are cruising. But there's all kinds of information being shared here. Talks about the controls of the aircraft as it's flying. It talks about what is going on from a heading standpoint, if they're climbing or what altitude they're at. Talks about the pilot itself, how much sleep he's had, how much rest modes he's had. And today it doesn't appear he's taken any rest modes, but he typically sleeps about 200 to 240 minutes a day at 20 minutes. And I think what they do is they wait till it gets dark, and then I think they let him go to sleep while the mission control watches him. So this is a pretty cool way to watch what's going on in the cockpit. Talks about the flight path. But anyway, they're 28% to Hawaii, 2,364 kilometers left, or which is a significant distance. But I think what it looks like that Solar Impulse is going to arrive in Honolulu on or about the 4th of July. And I've already been in contact with the PR team. I've got an invite to basically come, and I've asked for early access. I've asked them to, you're going to have your team arrive. We start getting the hangar set up. I know where they're going to land. That is not, I don't think, public knowledge yet. I've seen people asking about it, but I do know where they're going to land. And there's only a couple of choices here in Hawaii, in Oahu, for them to put the aircraft. So, long story short, I'm hoping to be there behind the scenes as the ground team comes in and be able to get some coverage for you. It hasn't developed completely yet, but I'll definitely be at the press release if everything goes well on the 4th of July, and we'll be covering and getting some interviews as well with the pilot. Try to keep the missus calm and not spend too much time down there, but this is pretty exciting, and I want to be able to get you guys some cool stuff to show to you, basically is extra content for the show. But anyway, that's what's going on with Solar Impulse. You can watch it too at solarimpulse.com. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's a little bit addicting, and it's a little bit unnerving watching the battery charge go down at night, knowing that the sun's going to come up, but they have to have clear skies. It can't be cloudy. They have to have a decent charge, or a decent. They have to have the aircraft at the right altitude to get charged in the morning as the sun's coming up. But anyway, that is that. We will at this point talk about Solar Impulse a little more on Thursday. Let you know what goes on. Very precarious. The aircraft doesn't take a lot of a beating, so they're having to watch the weather and everything. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen here as they make their slow trek at about between 30 and 60 knots across the Pacific Ocean, making this a 5-day jaunt. Again, arrival here in Honolulu on the 4th of July. I do want to thank everyone, and it's been a while since we did this, so I want to run through this real quick, talk about our insider program and the listener support, and I'm just going to go through the folks that have helped the show in June. I want to thank, let's see if I get this set up right. I want to thank Micah. I want to thank Dino. I want to thank Michaelani. I want to thank David, Curtis, Michael, Todd. I want to thank Mike. Deborah, Ken, Gary. Let's see, who's this one from? This is from Richard. I want to thank Denise, Kirk, Bo, Ionis, and Nigel, Barry, Dale, Andrew, Michael, another Michael, Ryan, Meek, and okay, so that's where we're at for June, and the number of folks that have helped the show out in June as insiders. I do appreciate your contributions to the show, as I've talked about in the previous show. The goal, really, if we get 1,000 of you each month to contribute a minimum of $2, I could hire some production help. If we ever got 5,000, which would be an incredible number of folks giving $2, we could really move and pay rent and move into a real studio. That would really be an incredible feat to be able to do here in Hawaii. And then we could, again, expand the network. And if 10,000 of you gave $5 a month, we could cover 12 major trade show events a year. Or we could hire some additional help. And so really what it comes down to is your support above and beyond what I already do for the sponsors that are part of the show. If folks are insiders, we will be able to build the show to a greater and bigger extent. I've chose to live in Hawaii. My wife has partially chose for me, but the cost of living here is pretty high. So unless the show gets really a lot bigger and we are able to attract a lot more sponsors, some of the stuff would not be possible without insider support. So that's some of the long-term goals. We've been at this for a while with the Insider Program. I want to thank each one of you that are contributing each month. It is greatly appreciated. Every dollar, every $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, $25 goes a long ways to helping us continue to do what we do here and continue to move Geek News Central forward. And with that, I want to thank again all the HANA and all the folks that are contributing to the show. I definitely appreciate it. And but anyway, we'll talk about this again at the end of next month. But again, big thanks to all the insiders. Okay, so this past Saturday had the New Media Show. Oh my goodness. Great episode. We had Rob Walsh on. Of course, he's Podcast 411. He also is the VP of Podcast Operations over at Libsyn, talking about the Mark Marone WTF interview with the President of the United States. And if anyone's thinking about doing content or want to get a behind-the-scenes look of what that took to make that happen, listen to episode 164 on WTF, and you'll definitely get some feel the excitement and feel what they went through. You can find links to that over at the newmediashow.com website and the episode that we posted yesterday. Of course, this past Saturday, I had some folks in from Honolulu. We had a pretty small group. It just seems summertime, everyone's crazy. Everyone wants me to have it on a different date, but it'll never work out to be exactly perfect. But I had some folks in, and it gave me an excuse. I cleaned the studio. The studio is immaculate right now. See if I can keep it that way. But did some demos. We had some discussion about creating content. So I had a good time with some new media creators here in Honolulu, and thank those that came. All right, finals before we get out of here tonight is this is the last, as of right now, at least until they come back again, this is the last chance that you're going to have a chance to save money on a great shaving experience over at harrys.com. You know, shaving, why did it get so expensive? Why did some of those razors from some of the major brands that I'm sure some of you are probably still buying, you go out and you're like, 4 blades for $40, or it's really nuts on the price of some of those name brand razors, and you're like, you take it that last one right down to where it's almost scratching your face, before you change it, right? Because they're so expensive. Well, Harry's.com was started by two guys passionate about creating a better shaving experience for all men and women. And Harry's delivers a superior shave. I've had a great time. I've been using now Harry's for about 3 months. I did order replacement blades. I think I'm on my 5th blade, maybe 6th blade. But the thing is, the cool is I can change every week if I want to. All right, don't have to, but I can. And, their blades come out of a factory that they bought in Germany that's been doing this for a long, long time. They cut out the middleman, and their starter kit's just $15. And that includes a razor, 3 blades, and your choice of Harry shave cream or foaming gel. I have tried both. I like the shaving cream. And as an added bonus, you get $5 off your first purchase with my code of Geek News. After you use my code, you can get an entire month worth of shaving for just $10. So go to Harry's.com now, and Harry's will give you $5 off. Again, if you type in my code Geek News with your first purchase, that's HARRYS.com, and enter coupon code Geek News at checkout for $5 off the starter kit and start shaving smarter today. And we want to thank Harry's, I'm sorry, for being a sponsor here at this show this month. Link will be up in the show notes where you can go over to their website. And if you haven't been over there already, it's easy peasy to use. They make it a simple process to come in and use that promo code Geek News. Again, shop Harry's today and save money on shaving. And yes, you too can have a nice shave just like me. All right, so anyway, let me go ahead and I've chit-chatted here enough about the regular stuff. Let's get into the stack tonight of content. I believe we have a few emails to go over at the end of the show. I must tell you folks, and those of you that have been listening for a long time, yes, in Hawaii, we do have summer. And what it means to have summer in Hawaii is the weather's unpredictable. The temperature can get much higher. And what's really going on right now is minimal trade winds. So the studio, I didn't fire the studio up until about 15 minutes before the show tonight because it's just too hot. And I feel the temperature in here coming up already. I got the overhead fan on setting 3. I can crank it to 4, but when I do, you start hearing the mic. If it gets too hot in here, I'm just going to kick it up, okay? And I apologize in advance, but the trade winds have been like gone. But I will say that outside of the studio here, there's a night jasmine tree. And last night, it was blooming. And, and if you've never smelled night jasmine, if they could can that and sell that as perfume, they'd make $1 billion. I mean, there's just no way they can capture the essence of that fragrance. And ladies, if you could capture that fragrance, you could get any man you wanted. They would be like, you'd walk by them and their heads would snap and they would stop dead in their tracks and turn around. I'll be honest with you. And when it comes in here, and some of you guys are thinking I'm being weird, but it smells so good. I mean, it really does. There's no air freshener you can buy that duplicates that. And this studio is my man cave, and it gets used a lot. And I'll be honest with you, sometimes there's a need in here for a little air freshener. You spend as many hours in this chair as I do, doing what I do. It's like it's the most used room in the house for sure, and probably more used even than my bed. So anyway, all right. I've digressed enough, so let me go ahead and move on and get into the content. So let's talk just a little bit about a service that even I use for Geekness Central. It's called Cloudflare. And Cloudflare is, and I didn't talk about it too much, but earlier this spring, we did have a denial of service attack on the website. And I there was some reasons why I didn't really talk too much about it. It's been long enough now that I can probably talk about it, but there was a number of people that were, for a better word, upset with yours truly, largely to do with some things that we had implemented in the podcasting space, try to shut spammers down, and trying to halt some nefarious activity that was going on. And I feel some of those folks got angry and came after my site. And if Cloudflare, if I hadn't, well, we implemented Cloudflare during the denial of service attack. And from that point forward, things have been much, much different here. Even though we've had some additional attacks on the website from time to time. But Cloudflare is a service a lot of podcasters and a lot of bloggers are using right now. And they got a great plan that starts at $20 a month is the one that I'm using. I can kick that up at any time in a higher coverage level, but luckily I haven't had to do that. But what Cloudflare really does is it does some caching. It does loading some images. It takes a load off my servers. And one thing it also does is kind of mask where Geek News Central really is. And we don't try to mask where Geek News Central is, obviously. But it does a pretty good job at doing some of that. And sadly, pirates have also discovered Cloudflare is a good service to kind of mask stuff that they're doing where they don't want companies like the or groups like the RIAA, MPAA, anti-piracy stuff to be able to determine where a server may be sitting to have that server taken down. After, it's been going on a while where those folks have felt they've had a safe haven. Well, just recently, Cloudflare has started to work with some of the folks, some of those rights holders, and it appears that because they announced publicly that they were having discussions with those groups, that a bunch of their companies that were using their service stopped using their service, and some of them even shut their websites down because they were worried that by the long hand of the law that those groups were going to be able to figure out exactly where those servers were hosted, be able to get court orders, get information about who is paying the bills, and go after people and prosecute them and do the things that those organizations do. So just for the simple fact that the folks at Cloudflare started to discuss with the right holders has caused some pirate sites to shut down. And so this is a curious development. Now, I don't know if that means that Cloudflare is giving up information. That's not necessarily the description of what's going on in the article that I reviewed here at torrentfreak.com. But it just sees these folks are having a harder time to hide at this point. So it'll be curious to see where these sites go next and what they use to kind of, for a better word, cover their tracks. A little shot of a H2O here. If I thought about it, I should just wear a camelback for the show. You guys know what a camelback is? That way I could have the water pipe right here on my shoulder and just pull it up to my lips and take a hit of water. But hey, before I do continue too deep into the show, and speaking of deep, I got a number of emails from those of you that had an interesting reaction to one of the comments I made on the last show. It had to do with a probe. Some of you spit water out. Some of you laughed. A couple of you had to pull your cars over to the side of the road. I guess I hit your funny bone. But I'm glad that I did. I didn't get any emails from people that were offended. But anyway, I thought I would just share that some of you asked me not to read emails. So, but I just wanted to mention it here that some of you made my day when you replied. Maybe I need to use that term a little more often. I don't know. But I think if I did, the show would not necessarily be child safe. So we'll have to keep that one in the usage box where it's not used very often. A couple of articles out about artificial intelligence. And you got to love Woz. Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak has reportedly been spending some sleepless nights fretting about the day when technology would have dominion over humans, like the turning point when the student surpasses the master. His fear is a future where artificial intelligence will become smarter than people and take over the world. But then he kind of had a, well, what about this? He surmised, if AI machines become smarter than us piddling mortals, they'll keep us around because they'll realize they need ants and that we're needed as the human population are part of a delicate ecosystem. I don't know so much about that. And like other creatures of the planet, we have our place. He doesn't feel this is going to happen for a couple of 100 years, but he's not the only one talking about artificial intelligence and becoming too smart and worried about it. There's a professor that is warning that robots could keep us in coffins on heroin drips. Citing an extreme example, an Oxford University professor says the biggest fear is that robots will be smarter than us and by misinterpreting our commands may have very different definitions of happiness. Now, I don't think we're going to get to that point, but it's good to have the discussion way early before we get to the point of self-awareness. And we're definitely a ways away from self-awareness. But computers are getting smarter. If you look at how much we own or handle our mobile phones, you would say that we're already slave to these devices, right? So we're already, kind of beholden to them. And if we don't have our mobile device or our desktop, how many of you freak out? How many of you had a mobile phone that you left at home or your computer died? There's really nothing, at least in my instance, it's not like this. That's like a stop, hold the phone moment. Let's get in the car. Let's go buy another computer moment. That's kind of how I operate. Or if my mobile phone goes out, if I leave it in the house, it's terror. Now, the phone's okay. It's here in the house. It's an inanimate object. I'm not, it's going to be here when I get back. But the anxiety level of not having it near me proves that we are slaves to these devices. And so is Woz and this professor, are they right? Are we already getting a heroin drip in the form of social media posts and Facebook, postings and stuff that's coming on Pinterest and Instagram and all that? Is it? Is that the new form of heroin? Well, there's been some studies done that kind of shows that our utilization of our mobile phones and social media and Facebook and having to be online 24/7 is tapping some of the same exact pleasure points that folks on heroin use and folks that are addicted to drugs. So I encourage you to try, and we try to do this at least once a month here, is to go on a no-device weekend. It's very, very hard, but try to go one weekend a month, and where you just, like Friday, you get home from work, roll in the house at 5 o'clock, shut the phone off. Shut it off, and make everyone else shut their phones off. Don't get on the computer, and have a weekend device free. If you can make it, I will applaud you. We do that here, but it's invariably I'll come in and sneak some email, so even I have a hard time executing that. So these are two good articles that talks about what could be the future, but what, in my opinion, may already be here. Now, we're not beholden to them. They can't kill us, per se. They can't stop us from eating, but some of these kids are playing games. They go 8, 10, 12, 20 hours sitting in front of a computer and playing, not moving, and that is, almost like virtual suicide. That is not healthy activity. So it is something to think about just a little bit. Switching gears here completely, Uber in France. Oh my goodness. The French government is out of control. So after days of violent protests and defiance on the part of the Uber French management, two of the company's employees were taking, after days of violent protest and defiance on the part of Uber's French management, I read that correctly that time, two of the company's employees were taken into custody for what the French government is calling illicit activity. So today, Uber France CEO Thibault Sanfal and Uber European GM Pierre Dimitri Gore Coty were arrested for running the company's rideshare services illegally. The pair is also being held under suspicion of concealing digital documents. Last week, French Interior Minister Bernard Savenze took legal action to shut down UberPop, the service that employs non-professional drivers to provide rides in response to protests that block key transportation hubs. So they are not happy with this disruptor Uber in France. And it just goes to show you that resistance is futile. It will happen over time as the public demands access to Uber services. But for the time being, they've got a legal battle on their hand. And Uber's got a long way to go to make inroads in France. So if you're planning on travel to France, it may be advisable at the airport to get into a regular taxi. You all know very well that my family suffered a tragedy because of a railroad crossing. And even though deaths at railroad crossings are down, there's still 130,000 public and 85,000 private grade or level crossings, train crossings, across the United States. The number of accidents crossings have declined 80% to almost 2,000 a year. In recent years, though, from about 12,000 in the 1970s. But last year, the number rose 9%. The upswing has prompted the railroad agency to seek new ways to stem this long-standing hazard through technology. Last year, 270 people died in highway rail collisions, up from 232 the previous year, and 843 people were injured. If you get hit by a train and you die, the train company may offer to pay your burial expenses. If you get hurt, they may come and check on you. But if you try to do a federal lawsuit or a local lawsuit against the folks that own that crossing, you have to sue the federal government, because every train crossing in the United States, I believe even the private ones, are federally regulated. And if they don't have a light, they have a sign, you're still responsible for getting across safely. And that's where most of the accident happens, or it stops, or at train crossings where there is no light. And people are used to going across those tracks day in, day out, and guess what? They don't pay attention one day and they get blasted. So Google and Apple, Facebook and stuff, they're all starting to work with the Railroad Association to make sure that railroad crossings are going to be in the maps. So as we move forward, there's going to be some sort of indication on our mapping devices, whether it be a GPS, our phone, that there could be a railroad crossing ahead, and to be able to give us a little bit of a warning. It's another tool in the toolbox, but still ultimately it's your responsibility to get across the track safely. Take it from me. If you come up to a train track that doesn't have the lights, it's just one of those country railroad tracks, please slow down, look right, look left, look again, look twice, make sure before you go across that track, because believe me, all it takes is a split second to miss and you're dead like my dad. So don't miss it, all right? Anyway, that's that on that. So nice to see that the railroad agency is starting to work more with the mapping folks to get this stuff documented. And I don't understand why it hasn't been already. Well, the U.S. Office of Personnel Management is starting to try to fix their problems. So for about the next 6 weeks, no one can do background checks until the feds fix their hack mess. So they're shutting down and essentially not doing any investigations, according to this article on the website. So they got to clean up their system. And boy, oh boy, do they have a lot of cleanup to do as it appears in the news. So we'll see where this leads. But if you're getting a government job and you needed a security clearance, my friend, you are screwed until they start doing investigations again. All right, tomorrow's a big day. Apple to kick off new iOS version seeding at 8 a.m. Pacific on, again, tomorrow, Tuesday, June 30th. So if you are looking for an update, you might start seeing the update at some point in the morning. But you're going to be able to get access to their new streaming radio service. But there's a big update for 8.4. Again, 8.4 is said to deliver Apple Music to the mobile operating system. And it's you get this try for 90 days for free. After that, $9.99 per month. All right, so look for 8.4 to kick. After years of pretending Netflix cord cutting wasn't real, the cable industry is starting to realize that they're having an impact. And they're trying to change their business model in a big way. They're trying to become less resilient on advertising in the content, trying to do better deals with cable providers, have get higher pricing for the carriage fees, etc. But right now, as we talked about in the last show, Netflix, if Nielsen was measuring them today, would likely be bigger than ABC, CBS, NBC, and Fox combined. And so we'll see where this leads. But the cord cutters are starting to get the big boys' attention in a large way. I loved this article that came out. And for those of you that live in a neighborhood that has blistering fast fiber, where you have this 1 gig connection, if you're getting ready to sell your house, I just want you to add an additional $5,000 to the valuation. So they're saying that 1 gigabit per second fiber broadband can boost your home's value by more than $5,000. And the average was actually $5,400. So this is exciting. It shows that if your neighborhood's wired up, you're gonna get a little appreciation courtesy of Google. That's a nice little payback, isn't it? That's a freebie that you don't have to do anything for. Of course, we'll never get fiber to the curb here. At least I don't think in any near-time future. They have some of it some places, but I'm pretty happy where I'm at right now with having it's 220. Yeah, 200 down, 20 up, and then I have another connection that is 50 down, 5 up that we use for the Ohanasaurus back here on the Saturday shows. Pretty crazy to have a dedicated connection just for that show, but that's the price of doing new media in the space today. The MPAA, I don't get this. They're targeting a new anti-piracy ad at moviegoers. So the next time you're in the movie theater, you may get to see a video that runs in about 300 AMC theaters where they're going to be showing behind the scenes of movie workers like costume illustrators, seamstresses, picture car coordinator, carpenters, set designers, all to make you feel guilty for pirating content even though you're sitting in the movie theater having paid big bucks to be there. So let's advertise to try to make people feel guilty. We know that it's never worked before despite trying for decades, but we know this will work this time, right? What are they thinking, really? But it's a captive audience, so they can push their propaganda at you while you're sitting there, push their propaganda at your kids to indoctrinate them. Don't steal media. Don't download anything. Don't go to torrent sites. We already know that. Please, we know the consequences of doing so. Hey, you'll be pleased to know if the Time Warner Cable CEO makes this deal, a Charter goes through, he's going to be richer by $91 million. But the Charter CEO, if he makes this deal go through, he's going to be scheduled to personally be rewarded $74.6 million from the deal. Don't you just love how these CEOs and these companies, when they do these merger deals, get these big, huge cash paychecks? It's crazy, isn't it? It really, really is. All right, a court has ordered Namecheap.com to identify pirate site operator, and they basically are saying, "Yep, here's your subpoena. Give us the information." And this isn't something that Namecheap has had to deal too much with, apparently. According to the RIAA, they're willing to suspend the site from their operations, but they were not able to get the registration information because it was a private registration. So now the RA has went to a judge and basically says, on demand, we can walk into a domain register and we can ask for the private registration of a user to get that information out of them before the folks basically flee. And but anyway, coincidentally, Namecheap launched a campaign last week urging its users to protest this new proposal that would put an end to private domain registrations for some site owners. And of course, the company said, "Oh, we don't object to court orders," and they've complied with similar court orders in the past, apparently. But apparently, RIAA is having a little trouble with this particular ISP. Well, SpaceX, what can you say? Wow, this is the third mission to the International Space Station where they blew the rockets up on the pad. This is SpaceX's first failure in a while. It was this was a Dragon resupply mission. It was going to the International Space Station, and at about 2 minutes into flight, she went kaboom. And the NASA folks are saying that the failure doesn't endanger the space station crew. There's another schedule. The Soviets are scheduled to put up a cargo run sometime early next month. So it appears that they're not going to change. They're going to go to a 6-man crew as planned. But right now they've got a number of supplies on the station to not cause an issue. But they can't afford too many more of these. SpaceX is trying to figure out what went on, what happened. They're not saying too much, but Elon Musk and team are working around the clock because they have a lift that they're supposed to do for another customer here shortly. And so they put that lift on hold until they can figure out why their rocket went boom. So too bad here on this cargo deal. Let's keep our eyes peeled as we're moving forward as these cargo lifts become more critical. All right, switching up here on talk a little bit about Bill Gates. We don't hear a lot about Bill Gates in the news, but Bill Gates has dumped $1 billion into renewable energy companies, and now he's ready to double down. And this is what I think is interesting. Gates announced he will increase his investment in renewable energy technologies to $2 billion in an attempt to bend the curve on limiting climate change. He is focusing on risky investments that favor breakthrough technologies because he thinks incremental improvements to existing tech will not be enough to meet the energy needs while avoiding a climate catastrophe. He says there's no battery technologies even close to allowing us to take all of our energy from renewables and be able to use battery storage in order to deal not only with a 24-hour cycle, but also with long periods of time where it's cloudy and you don't have the sun or you don't have wind. Power is about reliability. We need to get to something that works reliably. At the same time, Gates rejected calls to divest himself of his charitable foundation investments in fossil fuel companies. Hey, if he can get money out of the fossil fuel companies and spin that into investments in renewable energy, I think that's good use of his resources. So, take the money out of the dedicated stuff that's proven and take the profits from that and dump it into, to more risky stuff. So I think this is a smart move by him. We'll see if he is able to move the curve. Those of you that use Android devices, Google's apparently working on an offline mode where you can say, "Okay, Google," and ask a question. And apparently the offline mode will have limited functionality but will work. So that's a rumor that may be coming to the next version of Android. So let's see if that proves out. I had an article there that I didn't want to go over. So why is that even in there? Huh. I have this thing laid out. I lay the show up in pieces, and I clicked on a link, and I'm like, I didn't review that article. What is that one? Hey, let's talk about Google Earth. And we really have to it's been 10 years here since Google Earth launched. And they've got a new thing now that they're basically allowing you to visit new sections of Google Earth really on demand, and to be able to see things that have just been recently updated. And this is very, very cool. So it's designed to help folks and travelers better see the world. And again, it's called Voyager, and which is perfect for frequent visitors. Voyager is available now on the desktop version. So again, Google lets you jump straight to the newest and most interesting imagery around the globe. So very, very cool on Google Earth. I haven't been on Google Earth in a while. I really haven't. All right, warrantless phone tapping, email spying, inching its way to a possible Supreme Court review. In 2013, the Supreme Court rejected a challenge to a once clandestine warrantless surveillance program that goggles up Americans' electronic communications. So human rights activists and journalists brought the Supreme Court challenge amid claims that the FISA Amendment Act was chilling their speech. But the Supreme Court tossed the case, telling the challengers, lawyers from the American Civil Liberties Union, to bring proof by real targets of warrantless email and phone surveillance. So again, in a 5-4 ruling by Justice Samuel Alito, at the time the court said the case was based on assumptions, and the plaintiffs merely speculated that they were being spied upon. Well, you know what they have in their possession now. So they're making another run at it. We'll see what happens with this particular run. Told you a little bit about Amazon Echo, that I've got one here in the house. I've been using it. A little bit of an extension to that. There's a gentleman that's using his Echo now with some of the Zigbee and Philips Hue type of home automation systems. So we know that Echo is able to control home automation products, again, that run on Philips Hue, and Belkin, and Wemo Standard. So be aware of that. If you have any of those items, the Echo may be able to turn your lights down. You just say, Alexa, turn the lights down in the bedroom, and Alexa will do that. So anyway, the good write-up on some stuff that Alexa or the Echo is able to integrate with. How many of you use Malwarebytes? I use Malwarebytes on all of my PCs, every last one of them. I've been using Malwarebytes for years. I trust it as a malware application, but Malwarebytes is now offering pirates its premium anti-malware product for free. So apparently they got a bunch of key mess, and some keys are overlapping other keys, and some of the paying customers are having trouble, and they basically say, hey, a lot of people bought this, we don't want to make this right, so they're going to give all of you that have pirated Malwarebytes a legitimate key. All right, so be aware of that. I think this is in anticipation of a new version of the software using a whole new keying process, but at this point, they're just going to give everyone that has the current version of malware a free replacement key for their installation. So kind of a cool move by the folks at Malwarebytes. Been using this product for a long time. Really believe in it. It definitely catches stuff that I might miss, or something I clicked on that may have loaded a page that wasn't nice. So it's a good another layer of protection on your computer. Well, this didn't take too long. I should have covered this earlier, but the largest federal employee union has filed a class action lawsuit against the Federal Personnel Office and its leaders for failing to safeguard personal files from computer hackers. They basically said you had enough time. You were warned. You knew you had issues. You had time to fix this, and you didn't. So we'll see where this leads from a lawsuit standpoint. It's never easy to sue the government. Those of you that are airplane enthusiasts, you're going to love this. So you guys know when you're driving down the road in your car and you hit a bug, they kind of splat, right, on your windshield. And over time, especially in the summertime, it can get pretty bad. Mosquitoes, all kinds of bugs, you name it. The next thing you know, you've got 500 insect impacts on your grill and on your window, and it's just this mess, right? Well, when bugs hit the wings of airplanes, they also create a problem. Their blood, called hemolymph sticks to an airplane's wings, disrupting the smooth airflow over them, and reduces the aircraft's fuel efficiency. Now, oftentimes we would spend extra time scrubbing the leading edges because, yep, there was bug strikes. So to fight the problem, NASA has been working on a coating that could help aircraft repel bug remains during flight. After experimenting with almost 200 different formulas, researchers recently flight tested a few promising candidates. Results showed that they could reduce the amount of stuck bug guts on the wings by up to 40%. With further optimization, NASA says such coating could allow planes to use 5% less fuel. Just think about that. 5% fuel over, smashed bug guts on the wings. There's more to it than that, but definitely an interesting move. Jack, what do you think about that? Put a little coating on there to keep the bug guts off the plane. Is that going to make a big difference? Is it really 5%? I don't think so, but that's what the folks in the government say. Oh, what was that? Oh, hang on here. I got audio running, and I don't want... Oh, let me turn this down, or I'm going to get shut down by YouTube. Okay. They just restarted the stream, and boy, oh boy, am I still alive? Not a good thing to have come on during a live show. But anyway, the folks at Solar Impulse are getting ready to do an update. All right, so moving on here. An expired bogus patent on basic computer files being used to shake down lots of companies in a scam. It's not even a legitimate patent anymore. It's expired. And they're being shook down by a company that actually owns the patent and trying to play on people's stupidity. So, if you get shook down for a patent infringement, you better check and make sure the patent's still valid. Hey, Microsoft Windows 10 Build 10158 brings Edge browser improvements, UI polish, although there is some issues with the kid-safe mode in Windows 10 in this latest update, but we're getting closer to a release version. We're right around the corner. July 29th is the date we're supposed to get Windows 10, thereabouts. So we'll see if that actually happens. Also on Apple Music, don't forget, Apple has changed their rules. They're going to let you add 20, they used to allow you to add 25 songs, but now they're going to allow you to add up to 100,000 tracks and match it up so that you can have all your tunes available on the stream. So very, very cool stuff. Who has 100,000 songs? That's a lot. That's a lot in a library. Do any of you have 100,000 songs? If you've got 100,000 songs, you've been sneaker netting some stuff. All right, Linux bids for UAV world domination by enslaving future Skybot army. The Drone Code open source UAV platform initiative, man, it is taking off, and I'm starting to follow this drone stuff even more. I'll be honest with you, I was contacted by a drone manufacturer out of Canada. He's sending me 2 drones. They're relatively expensive, about $50 each. He's sending me 2 so that my son and I can fly them and videotape them each other, and we're going to do a review and let you guys know what we think about these little drones and see if they're worthy of the $50 purchase. He sent in some extra propellers, too, in case we crash them. So look forward to start doing some drone reviews. Really didn't think that was going to turn into, those drone videos were going to turn into me getting drones, but hey, I'm not, they want to send some gear, send it on down. We'll do some testing right up, for sure. An Apple Watch patent would have you sharing files with a handshake, so they've got a patent going in place of basically if you bow, if you shake hands, a variety of different ways people greet each other across the planet will allow you to share files. And I don't know if I want to share files when I'm shaking someone's hands, but that is apparently something that is going to be forthcoming. PayPal's updated its user agreement following backlash over the robocalls and FCC complaints. They've clarified exactly how robocalls will be used. They're saying, number 1, help detect, investigate, and protect our consumers from fraud. Number 2, provide notice to our customers regarding their account or account activity. Number 3, collect a debt owed to them. So that's a little bit of clarification and change to the write-up that's been so hotly contested here as of late. A little discussion coming out of Apple. Apparently, Apple is investing significant resources into a car-related project, so much so that its auto division is seeing basically they're taking people from all over the company, and senior managers are not happy about the loss of talent from their teams. But they're pulling a bunch of people in, so this goes beyond CarPlay. We'll see what Apple's got planned, but anytime the car is the next battleground, folks. We thought the television was. I don't think so. I think it's the car consoles where the battle is. All right, MIT, for those of you that are coders out there, you're going to love this. MIT invented a way to automatically fix software bugs with borrowed code without seeing the original source code. Yes, I said that correctly. If you're interested in this, I'll have the link up in the show notes. I won't go any deeper than that because it talks about all kinds of crazy stuff that they're doing to basically fix broken code. Hey, if you think about a new carrier, Sprint's latest family plan offers 2 unlimited lines for $100. So they continue to be pretty aggressive here. And, of course, T-Mo has some pretty audacious budget-friendly plans as well. But definitely Sprint is trying to compete here with these deals. So the battle is on for your bucks, all right, on the mobile space. All right, Google Hangouts for iOS has got a redesign, has better performance, so just be aware of that. If you've been using Google Hangouts on iOS, make sure you do the update. They've got a new code of material design as well. It might, the devs out there, they're listening. This material design stuff is off the hook. I'm hearing material design this, material design that, material design this. I'm like, give me a break. Does it work? But everything now has got to be about this material design. It's just a thing. And those of you who don't know what material design is, don't Google it, okay? Just don't. Big news, of course, last week out of the Supreme Court. And good decision for folks that have been fighting this battle to be able to essentially get married in any, for LGBT couples, to be able to get married in wherever they may live and have some of the, the same rights as married people. But there was a little discussion. A lot of people changed their Facebook profiles to the rainbow profile. But there's some discussion today, and I'm very careful here because I saw it in 2 different places where they talk about Facebook may have been doing this as an experiment to collect data, and if they do, it's really irreprehensible. A lot of folks were celebrating that Supreme Court decision. So if they were actually using that as a social experiment to collect information on that, I didn't even know. I kept seeing everyone's profiles. I'm like, how did they do that? And apparently it was an actual tool that Facebook created to be able to change people's profile pictures. That tells you how much I was not really following what was going on. But what did catch my eye today, again, was this rumor that this tool has been used to do some social measurement and do profile billing, essentially. Which is, if it's true, very, very sad. Or it could be someone's disgruntled and they're starting rumors. All right, blind agreement and closed-door deals report slams TPP negotiations. And this didn't come out of a U.S. report. This came out of Australia. As a trade deal between Australia and its allies edge closer toward completion, leading critics to warn of an impending attack on internet freedoms, the Parliamentary Committee has slammed the deal-making process, saying it lacks adequate oversight and scrutiny. Sound familiar? The TPP, over the weekend here in the United States, made major ground. You didn't know that, did you? Yep, they're trying to sneak that through. Hey, look over there while they do this over here. So we won't know until we know, right? Twitch viewers watch nearly 12 million hours of E3 coverage. That's pretty incredible. That's a huge increase over the previous year. So, wow, 12 million hours of E3 coverage. You gamers are hardcore, I'm going to tell you straight up. You really, really are. All right, last couple of articles here. Microsoft is exiting the display ad business, turning it over to AOL and AppNexus. So they're shutting down its web display advertising business and handing it over. 1,200 jobs at Microsoft will get pink slips. I guess some positions are going to move to AOL and AppNexus, but the majority of folks are no longer going to be working for Microsoft. So the ad business continues to change. This is display advertising, banners, and so forth, that type of stuff. All right, and final article tonight, Oracle must be, and actually Larry Page, not Larry Page, the U.S. Supreme Court has declined to hear Google's appeal of Oracle's case against it in the matter of Java API copyright infringement, leaving it up to a lower court to decide if any damage Google owns, and this was a big one. It was $1 billion or something initially. So this judgment was not expected, and but anyway, this goes back to the district court where jury's already kind of decided some stuff. So we'll see how much Google has to pay the folks over at Oracle. What is his name? The guy that runs Oracle. Brain fart on my part, not Larry Page. Okay, let me look here. What do we have for email today? That's the last of the regular content. Today is the 29th. The last show was on the 25th. So I got an email here from Bo. He said, "Hey Todd, no, we don't have to change SIMs when we go to another EU country, even if it's cheaper to buy a local SIM card. EU has just changed this." So he gave me some information on mobile roaming costs within the EU. Also got an email from MS Small Biz. He says, "Hey Todd, NASA warns people not to use cell phones around any debris from the exploded SpaceX that may wash up on Florida beaches." He goes on to say, "Okay, what was SpaceX carrying that wasn't food that might explode because a cell signal is present? What isn't NASA telling us? What is so dangerous it may explode if a cell phone is present but was safe to be sent to ISIS, or maybe it wasn't headed towards the ISS?" I said ISIS. So here's maybe what could happen. Electromagnetic frequencies can affect, maybe there's a broken wire on a fuel container. You get close enough energy goes through that, boom goes the fuel container that may still have fuel in it. But it's a good question. It's an interesting statement by NASA not to use cell phones around any debris. The conspiracy theorists will definitely be asking why, and that's what's kind of driving this a little bit. But it had more than food. It had oxygen, had fuel. So we'll see where this leads. I don't know. But a good one. That's a good catch there, MS Small Biz. Finally, today, an email that came in from Megan. She says, "Hey, good morning, Todd. For the first time in 5 years, the FTC updated its fact page for endorsement requirements that may result in crackdowns. There's new requirements. For starters, marketeers should be alert and aware of potential deceptive promotions, particularly in case of contests. A few key takeaways from the update were: influencers must disclose a relationship to a product, whether receiving money or invested in the company. Contests and sweepstakes rules need disclosures. Fake Facebook likes are not acceptable." So there's some change coming from the FTC on shows like mine, doing promotions, doing giveaways. I'm definitely going to be reading up on that. Megan, thanks for sending that over. I do greatly appreciate it. Hey, if you've got comments on today's show, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com. You can reach me on Twitter @geeknews. It's been my absolute pleasure to bring you the show today. Hope you were entertained. If you were and you got something out of the show, I hope it was worth $2, $5, $10, $15, or $25. Go ahead and become an insider at geeknewscentral.com/insider. We want to thank our sponsors of the show, specifically Harrys.com, for their support this month of the show. And we've got a brand new sponsor coming on next month I'm really excited about. It's a product that I've used that I can talk a lot about too. So I'm excited about the new sponsor that we'll bring in after the holiday. But again, if you are looking for a domain name, hosting service, or whatsoever, GoDaddy's a place to go. And you can start by coming to geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Grab my promo codes. Use them, folks. Share them. Tell people about them. Blog about my promo codes, okay? Link back to my site with those blog posts. Every little bit counts. Keeps the lights on here, keeps my family fed, keeps us moving forward together as a team, and so that we can continue to bring great content to you here, our fabulous audience. All right, folks, that's it. And if you're a brand new show, thanks for being here. Get subscribed. And we'll be back with you on Thursday for a regular Geek News Central podcast. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Aloha. And those of you on YouTube, thanks for being here. Didn't come to see you in the chat room, but that's okay. Next time, come to live.geeknewscentral.com. Bye-bye, YouTube.